That character is the character known as Chi from Grim Tales. And if you've noticed the title of this video, it may seem a little odd to you, but let me explain. For those of you who did not watch MASH, it's a television show that ran between 1972 and 1983. It was a television show about a mobile army surgical hospital, or MASH unit, during the Korean War. One of the characters, the antagonist of the whole show, or, well, the antagonist for as long as he was around, was Major Frank Ferretface Burns. Burns has been confirmed by various sources to be the one character that nobody liked. No one was ever supposed to like Frank Burns. And if you did, well, more power to you, but I cannot stand the guy. Now, I don't know if Chi is in that same light, if she's, the character that no one is supposed to like. Well, I want to like her, really I do, but here's my thing. Let's go over some of the negative qualities of Frank Burns and see if any are found in the character of Chi. Frank Burns claims he is a superior surgeon, even though he's only ever had 1 year of medical training. Well, seeing as how we haven't seen the Grim Tales characters engage in anything medical, I think that's not going to be found in her. Frank berates the others for cheating on their wives when he's cheating on his wife with the head nurse, Major Houlihan. Every time a patient dies on his watch, he always says it's either God's will or somebody else's fault. The only time his patients actually survive is if the other doctors give a second opinion, and most times he won't let them give one, unless ordered to. Frank stole another officer's gun and pinned it on radar. Drove a tank without any knowledge of how to, causing a lot of destruction. And of course, what happened in his final appearance. I'm not going to give away too much, but let's just say he went crazy. But before that, there's a point where when he found out Houlihan was engaged to another officer, one of higher rank than him, he went nuts and almost killed the other 3 doctors in camp. And he arrested a Korean family that he accused of being enemy soldiers disguised as a Korean family, when it was just, a Korean family. Oh, and of course, there's the bit where he was prejudiced towards homosexuals and Native Americans. Actually, to be honest, I think he just hates anybody who isn't white and American. We've seen that he hates immigrants, despite the fact that there is some evidence that he may or may not have been an immigrant himself. But whatever. And aside from that, if you've watched MASH, you know Frank has a lot of negative qualities. If I missed any, put them in the comments below and let me know about them. I'll try to include them next time. Anyway, so then the character of Chi. Well, Chi was given surprisingly 2 whole chapters on her alone. She's one of the new main characters. Back when I first saw her, again, I wanted to like her. I really did, but I was confused. The main reason I read Bleedman's webcomic Grim Tales, I should probably let some of you in on that now. Grim Tales is a webcomic that is sort of a mass crossover between various properties from Nickelodeon, Disney, and most of all, Cartoon Network. And the main focus is Grim Adventures. It's about the children of the Grim Reaper and Mandy. And those of you who watch Grim Adventures as kids are like, isn't she a little young to be married? Oh, don't worry, he waits. Yeah, it's kind of creepy when you say that, but honestly, given what constantly contradicting information I'm given about Bleedman himself, I don't think it matters. Anyway, so I'm trying to think here. What else can be said? So what do I mean by is Chi Grim Tales' Frank Burns? What I mean by that is Frank is a character that was never intended to be liked at all. Right? He was supposed to be the character that everybody disliked, the character that, had no likable qualities. Chi, well, no one has ever directly stated that she's supposed to be an antagonist. Hell, for most of the appearances of her, she's definitely a protagonist. One who some of her qualities are, pardon my foul language, but are dislikable as fuck, but still. Still. Anyway, back to it. So, but she does have some of the positive qualities. Like, okay, let's go over the character of Chi. What all we know about her so far? From the Grim Tales wiki, she is apparently a gold star lesbian. A gold star is slang for someone who has never been with a male before. And okay. And she's disgusted at even having the idea of being in a romantic relationship with a boy. Now, she is seen to be a party girl, and despite having a very high title, she doesn't really do anything. She doesn't do anything with the responsibility she's given. She's multi-talented. The people of her city seem to love her. She's highly possessive of the girl she has feelings for. She eats when she's stressed. She is a bit of a shapeshifter. Most of these I do kind of like, but it seems to me disliking males, being kind of possessive of the girl she's with, even getting upset if the girl she likes doesn't text her back in 5 freaking minutes. Yeah, you can't allow the girl to wait 5 minutes before before texting you back. What the hell? So, apologies, I have some things to do while I'm doing this. So, to continue, well, Chi's more dislikable things are, well, she hates males. It's, hating a few of them I can understand, but the gender as a whole, I mean, yeah, I get we live in kind of a misogynistic world, and have since the days of ancient frickin' Greece. But doing the same thing, but for the opposite gender, is still doing the same thing. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to help anything. And looking again at some of the things involving her, like, she has yet to interact with any of the other main characters. Why do people dislike her so much? Because so much attention has been given to her. She has not interacted with any of the main characters, and I understand doing a little world building. You want to expand on the world that you've made, but if you're going to do that, don't spend God knows how long in a frickin' bar. That's something a lot of Grim Tales fans, myself included, complain about, is that for a good chunk of the time we do see the character of Chi, at one point in one of the chapters given to her, we are stuck in a bar for much longer than we need to be. So much longer than we need to be. And maybe people complain, well, maybe if Chi had been given her own comic series, instead of just tacking her onto Grim Tales, just maybe, they would dislike her a little less. And yeah, a problem that Bleedman has, and after a long time I'm starting to see his side, people are shipping Chi with the main character, Graham Jr. But he doesn't like that because Chi is, a lesbian. Okay, well, I'm not against having an LGBT plus character, but here is something I think Bleedman overlooks. I don't know if it's prejudice or if he just doesn't know how to represent them or what. There's this thing called bisexuality, where you can like both women and men. Yeah, that is a thing. And there's a debate going around. I've seen some videos about this debate. What is the difference between representing that community, the LGBT plus community, and forcing it down people's throats? Like, instead of representing it, you're kind of forcing it. Now, since I myself am not a member of that community, I cannot speak for them, but I can tell you what is difference between representation and what is force. Representation is when there's a character with a full personality. Like, they have more character traits than just, they're LGBT. You want to think of an example? Let's think of the characters from Vivian Madrano's show Has-Been Hotel. Each of the 4 main characters in that show are LGBT, the main character Charlie being bisexual. But that isn't her only character trait. She's peppy, she's happy, she's a little naive. She's musical. She cares a lot about her friends and family. Things that would apply to a person regardless of their sexuality. She's not a forceman of anything. She's not forcing that down people's throats. She's a representation. She's a full-rounded character. Her girlfriend, Vaggie. Yes, I know what that means. Trust me, I know. Vaggie is kind of hot-tempered. She's protective of Charlie. Harley, she wants to be in control. Oh, but she never forces her will on anybody, unless that person is a jackass. And honestly, yeah, I don't know what else to say about her. Yeah, but again, and I could go on forever about each of the has-been characters, but that's not what we're here to discuss. Hell, I could go on about MASH too, but again, that's not what we're here to discuss. So, back to it then. So, anyway, another character that Bleedman might be more familiar with, Marceline from Adventure Time. Yeah, I myself did not see much of it, but when I did, it always had Marceline involved. And out of all the Adventure Time characters, I'd pick her as a personal favorite. And it was confirmed by the show's creator at some point that Marceline is in fact bisexual. When was this confirmed? I don't know. I don't personally know. It's just someone told me. I don't know if it's true. Ooh, I have no way of knowing. Just bide by. Just bear with me here. Marceline also has a full-rounded personality. She's a rock and roll kind of girl. She's tough, but she's sympathetic. She has a backstory you can sympathize with. When you hear about the tragedy she's gone through in her life or afterlife since she's a vampire, you can really feel with her. Sure. And that, so what exactly is forcing then? Forcing is... Anybody ever see the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy? Yeah, I apologize for all the dead air in this. I'm trying to do a million things at once. If you've ever seen the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy, he has two gay friends whose only notable character traits is that they're gay. That's it, just they're gay. That's all we really know about them and remember about them. That is forcing. They don't really have full-rounded personalities, it's just they're gay. And that's it, that's all people remember about them. Again, the difference between representation and forcing. A representation of something is where they have more character traits than just what they're representing. Forcing is where that's the only character trait that they have. And so how does this relate to Grim Tales? Well, Chi is an LGBT character. She's a lesbian. Which, honestly, again, I don't mind, but those two, well, she doesn't seem like a character most points. She just seems to be like, a bunch of lesbian cliches put together. And here's something, the difference between a trope and a cliche. A trope is a repeated element where there's at least some thought put into it. Going back to MASH again, I apologize since I know probably not a lot of you watch MASH. But if you do, you'll know what I'm talking about. Colonel Potter, who comes along in Season 4 of MASH, is a strict military man. That is a trope. But not only that, we know he's been in the army since World War I. We know that he is a very skilled doctor and an excellent human being. You can get to know him. You can like him. He has been married for 40 years. He's strict on military procedure, but he knows when to stop. He knows what you can and can't do, both as a soldier and as a person. There is thought put into him. Then there's Radar. Yeah, Radar's the nickname given to one of the characters on MASH. Radar starts out as a naive farm boy. He's nice to everyone. He's learning, but he knows nobody likes being in Korea. Hell, he's not too fond of it himself. But he likes being around the people he's around. And he likes the people he can call his friends. He's glad to help out. And he knows who is friend and who is enemy. And when he doesn't, he tries to learn it. And we, the audience, get to learn with him. And by the time of his final appearance, he's gone from this naive farm boy to a young man who has gone through hell and lived to talk about it. That is a trope. A cliché is where there's a repeated element, but there is no thought put into it whatsoever. Like, something Marvel does a lot, the portal in the sky thing. Yeah, the portal in the sky. It worked well in Avengers, but everything else, no. No, it's just where there is no thought put into it at all. You just do it. And that can be done for effects and for characters. And Chi, for some parts, seems like a bunch of lesbian cliches. An absolute hatred of males. That is a cliche of lesbians. And being over-possessive of the person they want to be in a relationship with. A cliche of lesbians. Lesbians. Lashing out at almost anything, even if it is most minor, well, that's just a cliche of women in general, particularly lesbians. Again, I want to like this character as, well, she does have some likable qualities. Like, over-possessiveness is a cliche, but after we learn why she loves the character of Mimi so much, again, you understand. I can understand, and some things about her I like. Like, I like how not only is she multi-talented, but, well, unlike others, it gets annoying when they flaunt it. With her, it goes mainly for comedy. I want to like her, I really do, but from what I've been told, most of those dislikable qualities overshadow her likable ones. I've seen some people that like her, and again, the whole shipping her with Junior thing, which again, am I for or against that? Well, I don't like... Here's something that has bothered me, and my friend Evan mentioned it to me in our final year of high school. Well, he found a bit of a problem with fans writing stories that take characters who are canonically straight and making them LGBT. It's nothing against the LGBT community. It's just that, it gets annoying to see a character that in canon is straight and be put into that community just kind of randomly. And at the same time, it is kind of a little distracting and really upsetting to see a character who is LGBT be made straight. And I think this is where Bleedman got annoyed with people shipping Chi with Junior. That's a straight people shipping. And yeah, I can really see both sides, though. I mean, first off, again, I only know of two canonically bisexual characters, those being Charlie from Hazbin Hotel and Marceline from Adventure Time. Aside from that, I have never seen even one bisexual character, canonically and confirmed. I know I know a lot of modern Disney shows have fans making up fan theories, but until those are confirmed, I cannot say that those characters are, bisexual. You can write your fanfics, no one's going to stop you from doing that, but still. And okay. So yeah, though. Well, I highly doubt any of the fans are going to budge. I doubt Bleedman is going to budge either. Am I going to talk about Grim Tales as a whole here? No, that's for another time. This is just to ask a question to Grim Tales fans who may or may not know MASH, and if you do, you will understand what I'm talking about a little better. And see who here thinks that. I apologize I couldn't do this better, but here's what I'm going to say. Leave in the comments below what you think. Is Chi Grim Tales' Frank Burns? The simple answer of yes or no, and why you think she is or is not. Later.